The fence was already half on the ground when Daniel Harper showed up with a toolbox in one hand and a quiet promise he hadn't fully thought through in the other. He hadn't been invited. He wasn't paid. And technically, it wasn't even his problem. But that was the thing about Daniel. He kept collecting other people's problems, like they were things he could fix if he just tried hard enough. The wind that afternoon cut across the small suburban street with a sharpness that reminded him of bills he hadn't opened yet. His boots crunched over gravel as he stepped into Mrs. Lark's yard. The wooden fence leaned at an awkward angle, like it had given up halfway through staying upright. A storm the night before had done most of the damage, but age had clearly been working on it long before that. Didn't have to come, you know. The voice came from the porch. Daniel turned. She was standing there wrapped in a soft gray cardigan, hair pinned up loosely like she'd done it herself without much concern for mirrors. She didn't look like someone who owned much beyond what she could carry. A kettle sat beside her on the porch railing, steaming gently in the cold air. "I know," Daniel said, adjusting the strap of his toolbox. "But it's not safe like that. A kid could get hurt." That made her pause. Just a fraction of a second. Then she nodded once, like that answer mattered more than she wanted to admit. Most people in the neighborhood knew her as Mrs. Lark. Quiet, private. The kind of woman who waved but never lingered. The kind people forgot to include in block parties without realizing it. What they didn't know, what Daniel didn't know, was that silence often hides things louder than words ever could. He set to work without waiting for permission. That was another habit of his. Fix first, ask later. It wasn't wisdom. It was survival. His daughter Emma had been waiting at home with a half-finished science project and too much patience for a 10-year-old. Daniel had promised he'd be back before dinner. But promises had started stretching thin lately, like everything else in his life. Still, when Mrs. Lark came down from the porch and handed him a mug of coffee, he didn't refuse it. "You always fix things for strangers?" she asked lightly. Daniel gave a short laugh. "Only the ones I can afford to ignore." That earned him a look, sharp, assessing, like she was reading something between his words instead of listening to them. The silence between them settled, comfortably as he worked, hammering, measuring, replacing. Broken planks with salvaged wood. She'd pulled from somewhere behind the house. She didn't talk much after that, only occasionally pointing out where nails had loosened or boards had shifted. At one point, Daniel noticed something odd. The property stretched farther than it should have. The yard dipped down a slope that led to another street entirely. A for sale sign stood crooked near a detached lot, though it looked older than the one in front. "This whole place yours?" he asked casually. Mrs. Lark followed his gaze. "For a while," she said simply. Something about the way she said it made him stop asking questions. By late afternoon, the fence stood straight again. Not perfect, but solid. Good enough to hold back wind, children, time, at least for a while. Daniel wiped sweat from his brow and stepped back. That should do it. She walked along the repaired section slowly, her hand brushing the wood like she was remembering something it used to be. "You didn't have to use your own materials," she said. "They were just sitting in my garage anyway." "That's not what I meant." He shrugged. "It's just wood." But she didn't smile at that. Instead, she reached into her cardigan pocket and pulled out a folded envelope. Daniel shook his head before she even offered it. "No, seriously, I don't need—" "You haven't opened it yet," she interrupted gently. There was something in her voice that made him stop. Not authority, not pressure, something quieter, certain. He hesitated, then took it. Inside was a check, not a small one. His first instinct was to laugh. His second was to ask if it was a mistake. His third didn't come at all because his mind stopped working for a second. This is too much," he said finally. Mrs. Lark leaned lightly on the repaired fence. "No, it isn't." Daniel looked at her, really looked at her now. At the calm certainty in her expression, at the way she stood like someone who had spent a lifetime deciding what things were worth. "You don't even know me," he said. "I know enough," she replied. The wind picked up again, rustling the leaves between them. For a moment, neither spoke. Then she added something that shifted the air completely. "I own most of the development on this street. The houses, the lots, the contracts. The people around here think I'm just the quiet woman at the end of the block." Daniel blinked. Once. Twice. That's not funny. I'm not joking. The words landed heavier than anything else that day. Daniel suddenly became aware of how small the yard felt, how ordinary the broken fence had seemed just hours ago, how he had walked in here thinking he was helping someone who needed a neighbor, not realizing she could have bought the entire neighborhood. Twice over without blinking. He stepped back slightly. Why would someone like you let me fix your fence? She looked at the repaired wood again before answering. Because people only show you who they are when they think no one important is watching. That hit something in him he didn't have words for. He thought about the nights he worked extra shifts and still came home short. The way he'd stopped going out with friends because babysitters cost too much. The way Emma tried not to notice when he skipped meals. He thought about how invisible he had felt for a long time. "And what did I show you?" he asked quietly. Mrs. Lark finally smiled. Not politely, not faintly. Something real. That you still fix things even when no one is paying you to. The silence that followed wasn't empty. It was full of everything neither of them said. Daniel looked down at the check again. It would change things, fix things, maybe even save things. Rent, debt, stability, the kind of breathing room he hadn't felt in years. But it also felt like something he hadn't earned. "I can't take this," he said. "You can," she replied. He shook his head. "Why me?" She stepped off the fence and walked closer, her gaze steady but not unkind. "Because I've watched this neighborhood for a long time. People pass each other like furniture. They only show up when they need something. You showed up when you didn't." A long pause. Then softer. "That matters more than you think." A car passed slowly on the street behind them, the normal world continuing as if nothing, life-altering was happening. In one quiet yard, Daniel swallowed. "I've got a daughter." "I know." That surprised him. "She's the reason I came," Mrs. Lark added. "I asked around before I asked you." Of course she did. People like her always did. Daniel looked at the house again, at the repaired fence, at the life he had stumbled into without realizing there were hidden doors. "I don't want charity," he said. "It isn't charity," she replied. "It's recognition." That word stayed with him longer than anything else. Recognition. Like he had been seen. Not as a struggling father. Not as a tired worker. Not as a man barely holding things together. But as someone who still chose to show up. The wind softened as the sun began to drop lower, painting the street in warm gold. For the first time that day, Daniel felt something loosen inside his chest. Not relief exactly. Something closer to permission. "I'll think about it," he said finally. "That's all I ask," she replied. When he turned to leave, she called after him once more. "Daniel." He looked back. "Your daughter is lucky," she said. He almost corrected her. Almost told her it didn't feel that way most days. But instead he just nodded. And for the first time in a long while, he believed it might be true.